Today we're talking about something I see constantly in high achieving women. You tell yourself, I just can't stick to a routine. I'm bad at consistency. I need more discipline. I need a new planner. I need a better morning routine. I need to get my life together. I hear those things all the time. And I'm going to say something that might irritate you a little, but you do need to hear it. You don't actually hate routine. You hate being controlled. You hate rigid structure that ignores your season of life, ignores your nervous system, ignores the fact that you're already carrying 900 invisible tabs in your brain, and then makes you feel like a failure when you can't keep up. So if you've been in a loop of start Monday, fall off Thursday, shame spiral Sunday, this episode is absolutely for you. Because today I want to teach you part of the flow framework, not a schedule that boxes you in more, a framework that supports you, a structure that actually feels good. And I'm going to anchor this in a real one-on-one client story because it makes it insanely clear. Welcome to the Muscles and Mindset Revolution, the podcast for ambitious women who want to build strength, feel confident AF, and lose fat for good without counting calories or BS quick fixes. I'm your host, Ann Jones, certified life coach and mentor, personal trainer, and mindset expert. After 15 plus years in the fitness industry, I know the real key to lasting change isn't just what you do, it's how you think and how regulated you are while you're trying to do it. Let's start here. The real problem is not your routine. Probably at this point. It might be if you have no routine, but most of my clients come to me with having tried all of their routines. Most high achieving women think they have a time management problem. Moms and high achieving working women both say that to me. But what they actually have is a nervous system problem. Because when your nervous system is dysregulated, your brain does not reach for consistency. It reaches for drama, chaos, dopamine, overcorrection, control, avoidance, shutdown, burn it all down energy. I've been there. Or the classic, I'll restart tomorrow, I'll restart. And this is why you can be an absolute force, a weapon in your career, a great mom, an amazing partner, a stellar friend. But when it comes to taking care of your body or yourself, you feel like a toddler with a credit card. Your brain is not failing, it's coping. And if you don't address the state first, you'll keep trying to slap a shoddy strategy on top of a dysregulated system, and it will never stick. It's like trying to build a luxury kitchen on a foundation made of Jell-O. It's going to collapse, and then you're going to blame yourself for not building it correctly. So before we even talk about routines, of which we do quite a bit, I have tons of videos on my YouTube about routines if you want to talk about those. We also have to talk about your nervous system and dopamine. So here's why discipline doesn't work when you're overwhelmed or when your stress bucket is full. Here's what's happening for a lot of you anyways. You're overstimulated all day. Task switching, notifications and red dots on your phone, children, work, meetings, traffic, texts, phone calls, stress, decision fatigue, driving, body image thoughts, food thoughts, I should be doing more thoughts. And then you go to bed and your brain does this. Okay, now we can think. Like you're not thinking that logically, but it's the first time that you've stopped. And suddenly you're ruminating, you're reviewing the day, you're panicking about what you didn't do, you're planning tomorrow. I do this too, guilty as charged. Or you're thinking about your body, you're thinking about work, you're thinking about how you're behind, you're stressing about money. So what do? Instead of regulating, you reach for a dopamine button. Phone, scrolling, snacking, TV, online shopping, wine, anything that helps you not feel what you're feeling. It's because your nervous system has been in fight or flight all day and your brain is trying to regulate itself the only way it knows how, or in a way that has worked for it in the past, or in a very familiar self-protective behavior. So when you tell yourself, I just need more discipline, what you really mean is I need a way to feel safe enough to follow through. That is a very different problem and it requires a very different solution. And that is why meal plans and workout plans and time management hacks are not working for you. I want to share a client story that makes this so obvious. This client is younger, but I'm telling you, she could be any of you. She's very mature and the patterns are identical. She's super high achieving, super busy, super intelligent, super driven, and her brain runs hot. And she used to tell herself, actually, when we started together, she told me, I'm terrible at routine. Like it was one of the first things she said. She was consistently staying up until 2, 3, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't because she was like working or doing productive work. She was procrastinating on her phone and thinking about doing work. So she wasn't resting because scrolling is never resting. She wasn't producing anything. She was just that very specific hell zone that a lot of us get stuck in or live in. Now, here's what's changed for her. She started doing something very important. Instead of overriding her tiredness with stimulation, she started learning how to feel her body again. Actually, probably for the first time ever. She's super active, but like I used to be, like you probably are, lives very in her head, very little in her body. She sent me a voice note where she said something like, for the last few days, I've slept every night and gotten around 9 hours of sleep. And I realized I think I actually need 9 to 10 hours of sleep to feel mentally well and have full comprehension of what's going on in my day. And that sounds like a lot to me, but for the mental recovery I'm in, it makes sense. This is a young woman, okay? So I want you to hear the maturity in that phrase. This is not a girl who can't get consistent. This is someone whose nervous system is finally getting honest about her needs. And I want you to notice how this applies to you. I want you to know as well that I can relate to this. I am also, hands up if you're a high needs sleeper. I'm a high needs sleeper. And in university, I was so regimented. Ask anyone who knew me. I would work out even if it was at 9:30 p.m. and I would be in bed, but I only slept from, I think it was like 11:45 till 7 or something like that. 11:15, it was like very specific. Like I could get 7 hours and 45 minutes of sleep. As a very active student, that was not enough. That's not enough for me now. I was like using my brain. I was working out every day, sometimes twice a day. And I kept thinking, and even in more recent past, I would be like, I can't possibly need more than 8 hours of sleep. I'm just instead of actually listening to my body and realizing I'm a high need sleeper, I was trying to fit myself into some other mold. And that's what this client was doing as well. And what I was like when I was that age and what it was happening for her as well is she had no mind-body connection to tune in and feel what actually her body needed. She was operating from external, like, well, this person sleeps this much and this person sleeps. She was in doing so much that she was not in feeling at all. And again, I want you to notice how this applies to you. How many of you are trying to run your life on 6 hours of sleep, 3 coffees, and just anxiety or not enough food, right? We're not really talking about food today, but how many of you are trying to run your life on this like demure ladylike chicken breast and salad every day and then beating yourself up for being hungry later or not eating breakfast and then beating yourself for being hungry later. And then you're shocked that you can't consistently train, eat protein, and feel calm and peaceful all the time. Let's be serious. Your standards are probably not aligned with your biology if you're like any of my clients or past me or even sometimes present me, let's be fair. So part of our work together, my client and I, became ending trying to force a routine that ignores what her body needs. So instead, we built a flow framework that supports her. So this is moving her towards being in a flow framework versus a controlling framework. A control framework sounds like I have to wake up at 5 a.m. I have to do the full routine or it doesn't count. I have to execute perfectly. I have to do it the same way every day. If I miss a day, I've failed. A flow framework sounds and feels like, what does my body need to feel supported right now? What does the body need? Not what does the planner say? Not what does the internet say? What does body need? What are my anchors? Like, what do I need today? How can I make this easier? We have so much resistance to it feeling easier. My clients know this is the secret sauce. This is why my Substack is called Diary of a Lazy Fitness Coach, which really just means ease. How can you make it feel easier? Because then it will. Like, it's literally that easy. What is the smallest version of this that still counts? I'm all about minimum effective dose. And how can I repair instead of restarting? Flow is supportive. Control is punitive. A very different energy. And high-achieving women tend to default to control because they believe that control equals safety. They believe that control feels safe until it doesn't, until your nervous system rebels, until circumstances outside of you that you were trying to control, you can no longer control, and then you go into unsafe, even though you can't control those things. And then you call it falling off. You didn't fall off. Something happened that you couldn't control, or your system hit capacity, or both. So we build frameworks that respect your capacity. So here are the 2 things that actually changed my client's bedtime. And this is where I want to get really practical because this is where most of you are stuck too. We built her bedtime routine by reverse engineering it. I do this frequently with clients. She wanted to wake up earlier, but she was consistently waking up later. So instead of forcing a fantasy wake up time, we pick a realistic goal for the season and we reverse engineer it from bedtime. And then we create a landing strip or a runway. A runway? taking off. I guess for bedtime, it's a landing strip. In the morning, it's a runaway. Because bedtime is not and should not just be go to sleep. Body doesn't work like that. Bedtime is an entire transition for, yes, adult you, just like an infant if you've ever had a baby or babysat. And the transition fails when you go from high dopamine to nothing. Your body can't do that. That's a dopamine drop off, especially for this particular client who does have ADHD. And she's young, right? Like she's like social and on her phone a lot. She was going from like high dopamine to like, but trying to go to like bam, and it wasn't working. So we did a couple things. And again, minimum effective dose. I gave her 2 things because I want to keep it this simple. How can we make this so freaking easy? So number 1 is we set a phone to bed alarm. She's on her phone anyways. At 10 p.m. an alarm goes off. That alarm is not a suggestion. It is a cue. And this is different for different clients because I do have my clients who will just ignore the alarms. But for this client, it does work. So at 10 p.m. alarm goes off. When a phone goes off, the phone goes downstairs or upstairs or wherever her bedroom is not. I can't remember. Not across the room, not beside the pillow, not just cutely flipping it over, other part of the house, upstairs, downstairs, kitchen. Because if the phone is in your room, you're playing with fire. There's just no point. It's like having the most tempting food in the house when you have not trained yourself to feel neutral about it. If you feel neutral about it, cool. You probably don't feel neutral about your phone. You're probably itching to touch it. And if you wake up and you want it, you have to physically go so far to get it. I put my phone to bed in my bathroom. I have for years, sometimes even in the kitchen, actually. But if you do really need your phone and you have to get up to get it, then you're up, you're moving, and you're not trapped in the rollover scrolling spiral. I have to stand in the bathroom to add something to the grocery list, stand in the kitchen to text my mom back if I think of something when I'm in bed. And that's what I want you to do too. That's what I want her to do too. That was number 1, was the phone to bed alarm, literally putting the phone to bed. Ariana Huffington has these cute, her Huffington Post, I think, makes these cute phone beds. You like put it on your mantle. It's literally like a little bamboo bed. You like tuck your phone into bed. Nice little ritual. I love it. Number 2 is a handwritten brain dump. Do this with tons of clients. It's so huge for busy brains and high achievers because the reason you scroll is often not just a desire for stimulation, it's avoidance. It's your brain trying to solve tomorrow and next year at midnight, right? Trying to fix, trying to solve. So instead of letting thoughts bounce around in your head, just dump them onto paper. There's so much power to this. It's like talking it out. If it's a to-do list, whatever, like get it out, your worries, I'm so stressed about this, reminders, anything. The goal is not to journal poetically. The goal is your brain believes the thoughts are safely stored somewhere so it can let them go. It can truly be a tomorrow problem. This was really big for me. I also switched. You guys know I love a digital calendar. I love my Google Calendar. I love my task manager. But then I was finding if I thought of something, I would try to get on my phone to put it in so I don't forget for tomorrow. And then I was on my phone. And that's tricky. That does require willpower to just not get sucked in. So several years ago, I switched to, I also have a paper planner that I just keep with me. And it's kind of my day-to-day. And it goes to bed with me. And then if I need something, I put it on for tomorrow. I'm writing it. I'm not getting on my phone. So this is especially helpful for my I'll forget it if I don't hold it in my head girls, of which I am absolutely one. And most of my clients are as well. Write it down. Analog. Tomorrow Anne can handle it. And then trust tomorrow self to handle it. Tonight Anne sleeps. Tomorrow Anne handles it. Trust her. Trust her. Trust her. Okay. Dopamine drop-offs and medium dopamine activities. I'm proud of this one, you guys. Medium dopamine activities. I love this. So let's talk about dopamine drop-offs because this is the part you will feel in your soul. A dopamine drop-off is what happens when you go from scrolling or whatever your high dopamine hit activity is to stopping, to silence, to bed. Your brain does not like that. Because scrolling is high stimulation, high novelty, high dopamine. This is like stepping off of Space Mountain and then trying to have a nap. So when you stop, your brain feels the crash. The crash feels like anxiety. It feels like restlessness, irritability, or I need something, right? It's like stepping off the walking escalator and your body's like still going. It's just like that. That's why you suddenly want something. You want snacks. You need one more video. You suddenly remember 45 things you didn't do today. Your brain is on that walking treadmill, the airport thing, the flat treadmill, the escalator thing. Your brain is still on that if you don't give it a medium dopamine activity in between. So what do? We don't go from high dopamine to zero dopamine. We go from high dopamine to medium dopamine. We slow the escalator down. Medium dopamine activities are things that feel satisfying, feel soothing, feel productive without being overly stimulating. Okay? So these are things like doing your skincare routine, puttering, tidying your room or kitchen for 5 minutes. No particular goal, just puttering, setting out your clothes for tomorrow, smoothing the bed, stretching for a minute or two, having a shower, having a cup of tea. These are not just like wellness tropes. These are true transition activities. Doing the brain dump I talked about, reading 2 pages of a fiction book, listening to a calm meditation while you putter. I will do this. I got really into this, especially when my husband was working nights. And so if he was younger, and I would put her to bed, and then there would be all the things, right? Cleaning the kitchen, making her lunch, tidying. I would put on something, not necessarily fiction, but not necessarily learning. I found a couple podcasts that I like. I have a couple of YouTube channels that I like to just listen to, almost like affirmations, meditation, self-help. There's a few books that I bought that I would listen to, like Pima Chodron. I love her books, especially for this kind of activity. These are transition activities. They help your brain power down without feeling like it's falling off a cliff. And this client who I was speaking about, she already had these activities, actually. She had her skincare. She had her tidying. She had this routine. She has this soft light that crackles like a fire. So she actually wasn't bad at routine. She was telling me she was bad at routine, but she actually had this routine. She just didn't know it was routine. She was missing one little piece. She was missing a consistent cue to start the routine before getting sucked into dopamine. And also she was missing just even calling it a bedtime routine, which can be powerful. So that's that we name it as a routine. She has the alarm. The phone goes upstairs, downstairs. She does the brain dump. Boom. That's the cue. Now we're in the landing strip. You think you need more discipline when you really probably need recovery of some kind. My client said, I think I actually need 9 to 10 hours of sleep to be mentally well. First of all, yes, probably. Second of all, I want you to notice the mindset shift there. This is the shift from hustle culture to self-leadership. High achievers, hear me say this, high achievers are taught to treat sleep like a luxury. And more than 7 hours of sleep, oh my gosh. But your body treats it like a requirement. That is a misalignment. Your brain is treating sleep like a luxury, as well as rest and food and many other things. Your body does not see it that way. With the high stimulation, busy life that you have, your body probably has a higher sleep need, even than like, quote unquote, the average person. And so it's not considering it a luxury. It's like, sleep me. And the more you start doing nervous system regulation work, the more your body starts asking for rest because you're listening to it. Just like when you start listening to your body, you start feeling hungry and you start feeling full simply because you're listening. Because when you stop numbing yourself with stimulation, you start feeling the exhaustion you've been overriding. I always used to feel this. I don't so much anymore because I'm better at resting more during my normal life. But like when I would go home for Christmas or to my parents and you're so like lethargic and tired, it's like responsibility has left the building. You don't really have to do anything. You don't have a work deadline. Your exams are done and you feel so tired. You were tired before. You were just working through it on adrenaline. So if you're listening to this and you're like, why am I more tired now that I'm trying to be healthier? Or why am I hungrier now that I'm trying to be healthier? Or why do I feel my body now? It's not because you're getting worse. It's because you're finally not ignoring your body. That is progress, my friend, that most people don't make. And this is why your new routine needs to include recovery as a non-negotiable. Because you do not build a fit, strong body, a calm brain, and consistent habits on sleep debt. You build them on regulation. Let's get insanely practical. Here's a bedtime flow framework that you can try tonight. I already told you my clients, right? There's no perfection in this, no life overhaul. Just a clean experiment. So step 1 would be to choose your phone to bedtime. Start with 30 minutes before you want to be asleep. For me, it's 2 hours. Alarm goes off at 8 o'clock. It literally says, take your magnesium and put your phone to bed. So set the alarm. When it goes off, Phone goes to bed out of your room. That's step 1. Step 2 is to choose just 2 medium dopamine activities, like I listed earlier. Skincare, tidying without a goal, laying out your clothes, smoothing your bed, making tea, stretching, showering, brain dump. 2 is enough. Don't choose them all. Don't do 10. Do 2. Step 3, do a 2-minute brain dump. I do love that for you. Write what's on your mind, even if it makes no sense. Write what you're worried you're going to forget. Write what you're pissed off about. Write what you want to handle tomorrow. Write how you want to feel tonight, and then close the book. Step 4, give your brain a closing statement. This is the piece high achievers need. Say, I trust myself to deal with this tomorrow. Tonight I sleep. Or tomorrow me has got this. Or it's safe to rest. That was one for me for sure. You're basically training your brain to stop acting like sleep is optional. Okay? And then step 5, last step, is a body check-in before sleep. You could even do, if you're journaling anyways, like, how do I feel in my body right now? Or without the journal, just asking into self, what do I feel in my body right now? My jaw, is it clenched or is it soft? My shoulders, are they up or are they down? My belly, is it tight or is it relaxed? Take one breath, let your shoulders drop, done. That's it. That's your flow framework. It's not rigid, supportive. Let's connect this to, if you are interested, why this matters for consistency and fat loss. If you are a high achieving woman over the age of 35 and you want to lose body fat, you want to build strength, you want to stop being obsessed about everything, your results are not going to come from you pushing harder. You've tried that. I can guarantee you've tried that if you're listening to this. I've tried that. It felt terrible. They're going to come from you becoming someone who can stay consistent in real life. Consistency is not built through restarting constantly. It is built through repairing, learning and repairing. Bedtime routines, sleep, nervous system regulation, and dopamine management are not fluffy or woo-woo. They are foundational for your body. I'm not just like making this shit up. The woman who sleeps, regulates, and reduces overstimulation is the woman who has the bandwidth and the energy to train consistently, who has the capacity to like eat breakfast and feed her kids breakfast, who does not binge at night, who does not need to start over every Monday, who does not treat her body like a huge problem. And if you want to build strength and lose body fat without living in diet brain, you need a nervous system that can tolerate discomfort without running to dopamine for relief. That is literally the work. If this episode hit you and you're realizing you don't need to restart, you in fact need to repair, I want you to try that framework tonight. Phone to bed alarm, 2 medium dopamine activities, a 2-minute brain dump, closing statement to yourself, 1 full body breath, and then message me on Instagram at @AnnJonesFit and tell me what changed. If you are ready to stop white knuckling your habits and start building a body and a lifestyle you actually want to live in, this is exactly what we do inside Muscles and Mindset. Strength training, structure, nervous system support, and the mindset work to stop the all or nothing spiral, because you are not a failure, you're probably overloaded, and we can fix that. And that is a wrap for today's episode of the Muscles and Mindset Revolution podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you get notified of the next one. And if you want to hear more episodes like this, I would love for you to leave a 5-star review. If you're looking for more free resources or just want to connect, come find me on Instagram. I'm at @AnnJonesFit. Okay, my friends, I so appreciate you being here. I love to see you showing up for and prioritizing yourself and your growth, and I will see you next time.